wisdom,
prudentia,
justice,
justitia,
temperance,
temperantia,
courage.
fortitudo.
Applying ancient philosophy to modern life, this is the Sunday Stoic.
Welcome to the Sunday Stoic Podcast. So, do you journal? We've talked about this a lot, and I've tried, and I have failed to keep a regular practice. I kind of think maybe journaling just isn't for me and I've never noticed it doing much for me. I hear so much about people saying they get a lot out of it. I never do. Just like people who exercise, they tell me how great it is, and whenever I do it, I get insomnia, and I have all these things that don't seem to fit in with the model that other people tell me of how I should experience the world. But journaling, I don't know. I might try it again. I might try to start up a habit this summer now that my teaching semester is winding down. I might try it again and see how it goes. But I've tried it off and on, and it just hasn't grabbed me. It hasn't grabbed me at all. But I like how Marcus Aurelius journaled. I like how he reminded himself of his activities. I almost think you can do it by thinking about it rather than writing it down if you're not a writer. And I'm just not a writer. I've never have been a writer. It's not something I enjoy. It's not something that I'm good at. But Marcus does it quite beautifully. This week, we're going to go over a couple of writings from the Meditations, chapter 10, where he's once again reminding himself of some various principles about what it is to be good, about how he should act, about how he should find his way in the world, how to navigate this world of complications, how to remain simple and keep to the task at hand rather than getting distracted by unnecessary action. The Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 10, Number 11. Observe the steps and continually study the history of nature, and trace the progress of bodies from one form and species to another. Contemplate often upon this subject, for there is nothing that contributes so much to greatness of mind. He that is rightly affected with this speculation has in a manner laid his body aside. He considers that this world will quickly be over with him, that he must take his leave of mankind and everything here. In consequence of these thoughts, he is all justice in his acts, and resignation in all else. And as for what people will say or think of him, or practice against him, he never minds it. He has but 2 points to secure, that is, to be honest in what he now does, and contented with what he now receives. As for the other projects and fancies, he has done with them. His business is only to follow that straight path which law has chalked out for him, for in doing so he has the deity for his guide. Number 12. Why need you be anxious about the event, when you may examine the enterprise and debate the reasonableness of it? If you find it practicable, go on contented, and let nothing divert you. But if you cannot see your way, make a halt, and take the best advice upon the case. And if you happen to be stopped by some new emergency, make the most of what is in your power with due consideration, and always stick to what appears just. For after all, that is the best thing to get, for though the grand design may not succeed, yet your failure arose from attempting this. The man who follows reason in all things is calm, and yet easily moved, cheerful, and yet grave. Number 13. When you are first awake, you may put this question, whether another man's virtue will signify anything to you in doing your business. No, it will signify nothing. And do not forget what sort of men those are, which value themselves so much upon the good or ill character they give their neighbors. How scandalously do they live? How are they overgrown with luxury and vice? How foolish they are in their fancies, and how unreasonable their fears. See how they steal and rob, not with hands and feet, but with their most valuable part, which, if a man pleases, can produce fidelity, modesty, truth, law, and happiness. In our first reading, he talks about observing the cosmos, how the planets move, these beautiful, spheres of the sky, and how nature works and the beauty of the logos behind it. And that will help to contribute to the greatness of mind, trying to get beyond one's body, beyond the dirt, the lust, the grime, the hunger, and get into your mind, which is sort of the most divine part of you, and put that to work beholding the beauty and wonder of nature, laying your body aside, as he says, and understanding that this world will be over with you pretty quickly, and to make the best of what you have. You will soon be leaving mankind behind. But because of that, he says, we need to be just in all of our acts. That is what we need to do. We're going to be gone soon. We need to focus on the simple, the things we can take action on. There's two things that we need to do when we realize the beauty of the world, the fact that we're in it for only so long, that we are social species. We need, one, to be just in all things, practice justice above all else, and then accept what happens, accept our lot, accept the things that come to us. That's what we need to do. And rather than complaining and striving, kind of like Epictetus's banquet, striving to reach the dinner rolls when they're across the table, he says, no, take what's given to you and move on. Marcus is sort of saying the same thing here. Don't reach, don't stretch, don't be ambitious. And by ambitious, I don't mean, oh, well, I'm not going to get out of bed today. I mean, don't be chasing after things that are vain, and just that you're pursuing because you want power or wealth, etc. But do what is right and move on. And if you do this, you won't worry about much else. You won't worry about distractions. You'll follow the straight path that is chalked out for you, as he says, using your deity as a guide. I guess maybe your inner diamond, or the or you could think of it as God driving the cart and you're being dragged behind, and you'll just follow along rather than chasing after things and being drug off your feet behind the cart. The next reading, once again, don't let anything divert you, is what he says here. Don't be distracted. Pick the simple path and go forward. And if you start and stop and can't figure out what to do next, take advice from those who are wiser than you. Get that advice. The Stoics don't always push for asking for advice. We're supposed to be self-sufficient, but we're not sages. We are not our own separate islands here, and even sages seek out friends to assist. In this case, you may need assistance. Seek that assistance when you are trying but failing. Make the most of what is in your power. Do what appears just. Once again, always do what's just. Do things simply. Do things for others with justice in mind, and accept other things as they come. He says the man who follows reason in all things is calm, and yet easily moved. So, not sure what he means there, but we're easily moved, cheerful, and yet grave. What he means by that is, we have a cheerful disposition, but we're not overly wildly like ecstatic, like woo. We are level-headed, happy, doing our business, and not easily distracted, hopefully. The final reading, something to remind yourself in the morning, much like one of his earlier writings about getting up and reminding yourself of who you're going to deal with. Remind yourself that another person's virtue or vice, as it were, is nothing to you. It's none of your business. Your business is your own virtue. Others, their virtue, their vice, that is not going to affect your moral compass, your inner guiding principles. And don't forget all these people we're running into, he says. All these individuals that we could easily be swayed by if we don't remember to keep things simple, to stay on path, to be just, and to take things as they come, and not to chase after little shiny things that could distract us from our progress. What do these other people value? We need to remind ourselves of this so we're not easily swayed by their opinions or by the things they're trying to talk us into. How do they live? Do they follow a simple path? Or are they full of luxury, vice, scandal? How are their fancies? What are their unreasonable fears? See how they steal and rob, not with their hands like a thief, but with the way they waste their time and waste their life. And instead of developing fidelity and modesty and happiness, they're chasing after crap and power and running from fears. They're driven by desire and aversion for external things, and therefore we should not hitch our leash to their wagon. Don't be drugged by them. Be drugged by reason and and your own principles towards some major lofty goal of making progress, and not being drugged down every blind alley we come by because something shiny is laying down that alley. That is something that I struggle with. A new hobby. I want this, I need that. I need 2 of those. I can't start this hobby till I spend $1,000 on crap. And then you start the hobby, you do a couple projects, then you discard it for the next thing. I wish I were a craftsman, someone who had one thing that they did, perhaps as a hobby or whatever, but did it exceedingly well. I just fear that is not within my nature. I'm not a good journaler, and I'm not a good craftsman, but perhaps in some aspects of my life I can be so. So these 3 readings, I think, are about keeping things simple, being just in all that you do, accepting what happens, remembering your principles, and not being distracted by people or things that may try to push you off course. Stick to what appears just, remain calm, put your nose to the grindstone, follow the straight and narrow path, and remind yourself, who are these people really that you might easily be attracted to or distracted by or drawn to by their charisma? Who are they really? My audio recorder ran out of room right there, so I had to switch to another computer. I hope this works. Anyway, speaking of people you shouldn't blindly follow, I am on Twitter at Sunday Stoic, on Facebook as well, and I have a YouTube account. Lots of my interviews, for example, have videos that go along with them, and you can check out the video version of those interviews on YouTube. So check it out, subscribe, say hi, give me a good rating on wherever you are, on Facebook or iTunes, and let me know how you're doing. And until I talk to you again, seize the day, carpe diem.